Hey everybody, for today's Devo Thought, we're going to look at a chunk of scripture in Genesis chapter 16 to set up what's going on here. So Abraham and Sarai, they'd already gone down to Egypt, and Abraham did the whole "you're my sister" thing, which is weird and messed up, and we can talk about that later. So eventually, the king of Egypt, he lets them go and gives them a bunch of gifts and servants, and apparently one of these things that they are sent along with is this woman named Hagar. She's sent along to be pretty much Sarah's handmaid. She does a lot of things for her. And Abraham has already been made this promise that he's going to have this son. And Sarah was realizing that she's getting pretty old. And she's like, I got a plan. This is the worst plan ever. It's so messed up. So Sarah's like, hey, Abraham, why don't you have a son with Hagar? That'll be fine. That'll work. And for some reason, Abraham, who apparently at this point is not thinking straight, because he says yes, never say yes, like that, good grief, this is so messed up. So he says yes, and then she starts getting pregnant, and then Sarah starts being mean to her and passive to her, and just not even passive, just straight up aggressive to her. And so Hagar decides that she's going to run away. So here we are in verse 7 of Genesis chapter 16. So she's already fled. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. He said, Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going? She said, I'm fleeing my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her. The angel of the Lord said to her, I will surely multiply your offspring, so that they cannot be numbered for the multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, behold, you're pregnant, and you shall bear a son. And you will call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He will be a wild donkey of a man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. He will dwell over against his kinsmen. So she called on the name of the Lord who spoke to her, and she said, you are God of seeing. She said, truly you have seen him. Truly here I have seen him who looks after me. Therefore the well was called Beer Lahairoi, and it lies between Kadesh and Bered. And the story goes on. Hagar has a son, and it's this really strange story, because you listen to the description given about what Ishmael is going to be like, and you're wondering, okay, how is this like a happy thing? What's going on? And she's told to go back to her abusive mistress. But even given all of this is Hagar's reaction. She realizes that the God that she's come into contact with is a God who sees her and sees her as a person to be valued and loved. She's been in this environment. She's been interacting with Sarah, who's been treating her like dirt, been treating her like she doesn't have any value, that she's hardly even human. And here, when she's run away, she comes into contact with a God who sees her. It's this beautiful passage of how God values even the slaves among Abraham's party, even the foreign ones, even the ones who are mistreated constantly. He sees them, loves them, and knows them to have value. I want this to be where we stop and focus today. Because no matter who you are, no matter what situation you're in, God sees you. God sees you, He loves you, He knows that you have worth, that you have value, that you are worth going out and getting and bringing home. He knows that you are so much more than people see in you, that you have value just because you're human, just because you're you. You are loved deeply by a Father, by a God who sees you. A lot of time we live in a world where we feel like we aren't seen, we feel like we aren't valued. But that's not the case with God. God looks at you and He doesn't see what everyone else sees. He doesn't see things on the outside. He doesn't see where you are in life. He just sees a beloved child. And that is who you are. So as you go throughout your week, if you ever doubt this, if you ever wonder if anyone loves you, if you wonder if you're valued, I want you to know, yes, you are so valued, so loved by God who sees you and sees every nook and cranny of your soul and still loves you. still ferociously loves you to the point that he's willing to lay down his life for you. You are seen and you are loved. If you want to be notified whenever we put up one of these videos, you can subscribe, you can click a bell icon, and it should let you know whenever we put a new one up. We look forward to seeing you again. We love you, and just don't forget that you are seen, valued, and loved by the God who made everything. We'll see you next time.